In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, a brand new CBS New York Times poll is bad news for the Tea Party. 40% of respondents have an unfavorable opinion of the Tea Party. Only 20% have a favorable opinion. And Massachusetts Senator John Kerry, he doesn't like the fact that the media covers the Tea Party at all.
And I have to tell you, I say this to you politely, the media in America has a bigger responsibility than it's exercising today. The media has got to begin to not give equal time or equal balance to an absolutely absurd notion just because somebody asserts it, or simply because somebody says something which everybody knows is not factual.
Joining us now to analyze, Leslie Marshall, a liberal radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. She's in Los Angeles. And Mark Meckler, the co-founder of Tea Party Patriots. He's in Sacramento. Leslie, let me begin with you and ask, what's the senator doing telling people that they shouldn't get information about the Tea Party? Tea Party represents some things that I think really are in the American spirit: smaller government, less taxes, cutting spending. What's he talking about?
Well, I don't like censorship, Juan. I'm a talk show host, for crying out loud. And I believe the people have the power of censorship. They can turn the dial on their radio or change the channel on the television. Don't do that now, though, however.
Good point.
The senator knows that we have equal time for politicians left and right. There's a clause for that. And if a Tea Party member, remember, the Tea Party is a movement. They're not a party. They're Republicans. And so if a Republican is on a radio show, a television show, interviewed by a newspaper, a Democrat gets that equal time, or at least they should. That's how it's supposed to go. The senator knows that, and I think the American people should be given both sides of every issue so that they can make their own decision. Isn't that one of the reasons you guys let me on here, right? I seriously, you need the balance across radio and television so that Americans can hear all the information and decide what they want to believe. That will lead to how they choose to vote.
Well, that's why I'm saying. So I'm glad to hear that you're saying you think that the senator is a little bit off here and the government has no role in telling a TV station what they should be covering or how to cover
Absolutely.
it. All right, Mark, let me come to you. The part that was really difficult, I think, for the Tea Party is not Senator Kerry. I don't think that's going anywhere. But the numbers, especially in the aftermath of the whole debate about raising the debt ceiling. Clearly, the American people came away with a more negative opinion of the Tea Party. That's what that New York Times poll shows. What's your take on this?
Actually, Juan, if you look at the numbers behind the numbers, they are phenomenal. If you look at the overall numbers, 59% of people are supportive of the Tea Party. They're not sure, or they say they don't have enough information. We have been vilified by the left. We've been called racist. We've been called teabaggers. We've been called Nazis. Most recently, we've been called terrorists. So you have 59% of the American public say they either have a positive impression, they're not sure, they don't have enough information. I don't think you could name another group in the history of the country that's been vilified the way we have and comes away with such extraordinary numbers.
Well, Mark, hold on. You're in the no-spin zone, and I just wanted to put this to you quite directly. The numbers are 40%, Mark, say they have an unfavorable opinion. That's pretty high. And as compared to, go back to 2010, it was only 18% who said they had an unfavorable opinion. So what we're talking about is just about a doubling in terms of people who say, you know what, I'm not sure about this Tea Party anymore. They pushed us to the edge of financial calamity, and it looked like they were doing it simply to make a political point. So, Mark, those guys are in trouble. I'm just telling you straight.
You're just wrong, Juan, is the bottom line. If you look, Pew just came out with a poll, and they said that the people who were most active and influenced the debate most were the Tea Party. 20% of Tea Partiers who were in support of cutting spending contacted their congressman, while only 5% opposed. So basically what you're looking at is who is the powerful political force. It is clearly the Tea Party at this time. And if you go back to the numbers from the election, coming out of the polling booth, voters, those are the people that matter most, Juan, not opinion people, but voters, 41% of this said they supported Tea Party values. This is about shifting the balance of power in America, and we are clearly winning that debate.
Now, Leslie, I think Mark's right that, Tea Party was the dynamo in terms of this recent debate. He and I are differing about, exactly, I think the New York Times poll is of all voters, registered voters. He's talking about people who participated in the 2010 race when obviously there was a big turnout of pro-Tea Party supporters. So, Leslie, do you see this as a problem, this precipitous drop, as I've described it? Mark says I'm wrong, just to be fair to Mark, that I'm wrong in saying it's 40%, more than double the 18% that were disapproving of the Tea Party back in 2010. What do you say about this?
Well, Mark, you remind me of my mom who's watching this, and I call her Pollyanna. And you have to look at the numbers. And this is not just this poll. The polls have been showing clearly that the American people have been supporting the Tea Party less and less, and that started since March of this year. What I have heard here in the United States on my show, what I've even heard abroad, is that the Tea Party is viewed as risking the sovereignty of America to make a political point. The Tea Party is viewed as holding Americans through Congress, specifically the House, hostage to make a political point. The debt ceiling under Ronald Reagan, under George W. Bush, and should have been under Barack Obama, a clean up or down vote. That is clear. The majority of Americans wanted that. It is also clear in 6 polls, the latest showing 56%. It was a Reuters Ipsos poll that showed that 56% of the American people wanted a combination. They wanted tax increases along with huge cuts. So I think the Tea Party is clearly showing, and these polls are clearly showing, the American people are tired of the fragmentation of that party and their message.
Let's give Mark the last word here, because, Mark, I feel like we're ganging up on you. But, Mark, what she's saying is it looks like the tide is running against the Tea Party. Do you see that?
No, well, first, thanks to Leslie for comparing me to her mom. I'm sure she's a nice lady. And she and her mom can continue to fantasize about anything they want. The Tea Party is the dominant player in the debate. And going into 2012, I'll predict much more amazing results. You're going to see a lot more seats turn. That's going to be the result of Tea Party influence. Keep wishing, Leslie.
All right, Mark, Leslie, thank you both very much. Very informative. Plenty more.